he quoted about the IT industry, which I fully agree with him. The IT industry for the past 15 years has been enjoying tax incentives and benefits, which is all from the taxpayers' money. They've been making huge profits. I believe the profits of just the 3 big IT companies is in thousands of crores. Yeah. And the IT industry last year through NASSCOM, which is their association, again lobbied for tax benefits for the next 5 years. But none of the IT industry, IT companies have yet built any school like the Tatas have, which you touched upon also, or built any libraries across India, and followed the example of the American capitalists. Yeah? So that's a thought which we need to reflect on, because if you make it an integral part of the business model and make it a profit center rather than a cost center, I think that's when humane capitalism works. CSR is not working for the simple reason that most CSR heads are scared to make suggestions to their CEOs because they know they'll be shot down. Yeah? So what we do is, we do some kind of lip service and show that we are doing a lot of good, but all we are doing is trying to do well. And that's, I think, what Yusuf touched upon, because it's all about PR. And I remember Meenu and I long ago went to, and I won't name the company because I'm often told that I'm politically incorrect, but it was a real estate company. I think you all probably would figure it out because I'll give you some clues. And they ran into a problem with the IPO because of some frauds which came up. So they called us and said, look, we want some ideas for CSR, and this was the senior vice president. And I said, okay, what's the objective? Well, we want to do something good. And I said, okay, let's touch upon some hard issues. Let's see if you can kind of make some, make some difference in the lives of the brick workers who are exploited. Who for 60 rupees a day, a family of 3 people working for 60 rupees a day, that's the husband, the wife, and a child, have to deliver 1,000 bricks. I said, you as a big real estate company with the highest market cap can probably make a difference over there. Oh, no, we're not talking about that. Let's do something else. Let's build some forums. And after 2 meetings with that senior vice president, I told him, you're wasting our time because we don't want to do this. Yeah. But all you're trying to do is do lip service. So how does one kind of tackle this problem is what we're trying to find solutions to today. So we'll open the floor for Q&A now. Please feel free to ask questions to the distinguished guests on the panel.
Before we start with the question and answer, I was to deliver a keynote address, but going to his bad throat, we could not be able to make it, but we'll be there for the question and answer round. Professor Bakshi has been associated with MBI for over 33 years. Currently, he is the director, and he also held the post of Dean MBI between 1995 to 2003. Professor Bakshi's research interests are in the theme of corporate governance, and he heads the Center of Corporate Governance in MBI.
Welcome, Professor Bakshi, and thank you very much for hosting the Humane Capitalism Conclave on the India campus. So with that, we'll open the floor for questions. Please just kind of stand up, introduce yourselves, and feel free to pose a question to the members of the panel.
I'm Firuza from MBI. I'm in HR. Actually, I got the right word is quite excited when I was hearing the show for if I could take the name. And literally, like a young student, I raised my hand, knowing that, that 12:30 I may not get a chance to ask. Okay, the question. It was just actually majorly an inquiry which fell in my head. I'm into PMS, I'm into all those balance scorecard, all those jargons. And I simply got, into one, but you began the whole thing by Adam Smith's definition of individual, an individual's perspective, and you defined the idea of capitalism from there. And simple question which crossed my mind was, why should we assume that individual means only economic thought, economic entity, economic vision, economic wants? Individual also has a construct called social construct. Why I thought of it? Because this is how I see the industry moving. Industry began with that wild, uncivilized individual thinking of economy, profit. Immediately I understood customer. Immediately understood processes. And then, the people part. So we have balanced scorecard. And perhaps individual also, in this century when technology has connected all of us, we are shifting our paradigms. Perhaps time it is that we get more civilized and realize that economic part of me we've played enough. Perhaps the other three parts can come outside. And I can see, first it was individual, then I see industry as one. Now I can see globe as one, and I can think that perhaps we are shifting into another paradigm. And that's what, I really thought I wish, I can work more on it. And that's something, I want to share. Because individual cannot be only economic entity. I will never be only economic entity. I really want to know from you.
Yes, I think that's a very good point, and it's something that I very briefly touched upon towards the end. You're very right. It is. I do see the evolution happening. We've moved to being a knowledge economy. I talked a bit about happy capitalism. It's not a buzzword. It's something that's being implemented a lot. Happy capitalism actually originated. The term originated in the Scandinavian countries, where they realized. The Scandinavian countries for the last so many years have followed the welfare state concept. It didn't work very well in the US. The US tried in the 60s and 70s, and then it's now more or less abandoned. But in countries like Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, you still have a welfare state. Taxes are high, and all citizens are taken care of. So the logical progression was, we have a welfare state. We think that our citizens are happy individuals. How do we incorporate that into business, into the capitalist model? And that's where happy capitalism came from. I see this as a natural progression because 200 years ago, when the Industrial Revolution happened, the exploitation of the labor class, of the working class, was a natural given from capitalism. You had to squeeze the labor class so you could make profits as the owner of capital. Today, the ownership of capital, unfortunately, it's an amazing discussion we can have, but 15-20 minutes is not enough. But the way I see it today is that when you talk about ownership of capital, it's not just economic capital, financial capital that's there. Innovation and intellectual capital are as important. And the reason why you have a lot of people who leave jobs to become entrepreneurs today is not because they own financial capital. That's not the case anymore. It was the case in the past. Today people are setting up their own businesses on the basis of the fact that they own knowledge, they own intellectual capital, and they're creating profitable business models around this. The balanced scorecard, again, is a brilliant evolution in the way of doing business. When I talked about businesses, combining the softer aspects of business with the harder financial aspects, the balanced scorecard is one manifestation of that. And a lot of CEOs who I interact with actually talk about employees. 20 years ago, this was not the case. 20 years ago, you're a manager. A very simple, very basic example is most organizations today, even in India, you have people interacting with their bosses on a first name basis. 20 years ago, this wasn't the case. Right? You'd be very hesitant about doing it. So culturally, businesses are changing. And I think humane capitalism will come, but we need to see how we can speed it up by hastening this process within organizations of realizing that, hey, we can make money if we do this. It is a business opportunity. It is a different line of business. So you're absolutely right. I totally agree with you.
Perhaps if you do this, money comes. Money
Absolutely.
is a priority.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and I think I like